Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone around the world who's going to be listening into this podcast.
My purpose on this planet is to be a blessing to other people. I needed to just, get
Take
out.
that step
Yeah,
forward. I think for me, it was different. I left Ghana when I was 6, right? My name is Manny DeJourna. I am the founder of Mentality. Mentality is a platform designed for men and women, but more specifically for men, to help us become better pillars of society. We do this through our media arm, our events arm, our services, and our community arms. In essence, creating a tribe and an environment where we men can support each other, learn from each other, grow with each other, and become, as I said, better pillars of society moving forward across all the interactions that we have in life. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone around the world who's going to be listening into this podcast, we welcome this very inspirational man who I had the pleasure of knowing for a few years now. He's not just a friend and a brother, but somebody who
Yeah.
I look at and I'm inspired by his journey. I'm inspired by what he's doing. And I'm so happy to have him here so that we can talk a little bit and understand some of the avenues that he's had to navigate in order to get to this stage in his life and how that will help
Yeah.
the rest of the community and the rest of the tribe. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tonderai Nyondoro.
Thank you for inviting me over. It's weird because you always watch podcasts and you think, yeah, there's podcasts everywhere, and but you have a great platform.
I try my
You
best.
have a
I
great
try my
platform,
best.
so I'm very honored to to be here.
We are honored to have you. And as you know, the platform is designed around communities, designed around having the voices that are not usually heard, designed in creating an environment and a space where everyone understands that it's okay
Yeah.
to be who you are holistically, and it's okay to have your own journey, but understand there are people around you that are able to either hold your hand or
Yeah,
at least lend an ear.
absolutely. And I think like it's the best way to learn. For me, I learn through people.
Excellent.
I learn through stories, inspiration, experiences. So, your story would have just as much impact as the next.
Absolutely.
So,
And on the basis of storytelling, then
yes.
let's start. So, who is Tonderai?
Who is Tonderai? Oh, wow. That is Tonderai is now at a good age of 39 years old, and I am a father. I'm a father of, I've got a son. So, um, I'm a man of faith. I'm a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a son. I'm a brother.
Mm-hmm. An uncle?
An uncle. I'm a semi-professional dancer.
Semi-professional.
Semi-professional.
The dance floors in Dubai will beg to differ.
Exactly. Every now and then, I like to dance. And I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer as well. I work for one of the largest international law firms in the Middle East and Africa. I've been a lawyer since 2000 and 2000 and when did I graduate university? It's been 14 years. Yeah, 2009, yes, 2009, 2010,
Mhm.
and that's who I am in a nutshell. Yeah.
Excellent. We're gonna go on that journey because I really want to kind of understand how we became the lawyer. Right? That is one of the things that we want to talk about today.
I wasn't actually supposed to be law. At first, I wanted to be an astronaut. Maths
Don't
didn't really
don't
work
we
out.
all?
Didn't really work out. Then I was gonna be a pro hooper, and then so that's what I was working for.
Mhm.
That's what got me to England. I was so keen on going down that journey, and then that never happened. So then, yeah.
Let's delve into the journey then.
Yeah,
You mentioned getting to England and how that all transpired.
Yeah.
Talk to me about early days. How did life start out? Where were you? Tell me a little bit about family, siblings, etc.
So I was born in Zimbabwe,
Mm.
1986. So I've been through
Whippersnapper.
yeah,
A young man.
1986, 80s baby, 80s baby, and I grew up in Harare. Had such a great childhood. I mean, my mom and my sisters, they were my circle. They're the ones that really inspired me to work hard. Like my older sisters, they are such an inspiration to me. So having that close, family unit really gave me the childhood that I wanted. And moved to England when I was 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Took a gap year to play pro basketball, and then did 5 A levels, got a scholarship to Harvard University. Yeah, and then the rest is
You mentioned your sisters being an inspiration, being the kind of glove that held you.
yes.
What were some of your earliest memories? So you can tell us some of the stories that you remembered from Harare, and even earliest memories in the UK. How was the transition?
Well, earliest memories are, I think, having my mom take me to school in the morning, and she would work at the hospital, and then after school I would go to the hospital, and then would go home together. My two older sisters moved back to England because they were born in England,
Mm.
and it's a 10-year gap. So when they left to go to England, it was just my mom and I, and that that's one of my not earliest memories, but I remember that period in my life because it was my mom and I had to all of a sudden learn how to map my own life
Mm.
because I wanted to, not because
Okay.
of my mom, because I saw what she went through to support the whole family, what my sisters did just to break through in their particular careers. And
Mm.
I think I just wanted to have my own independence as a young man, being the only man in the house. So that was
That's interesting. Well, I
yeah,
mean, we've never actually shared that information
yeah,
between us, but we have a lot of similarities in the
sure,
sense that I was born in Ghana, so I
yeah,
moved from Ghana to the UK when I was
okay,
6. And although I had mum and dad in the house,
uh-huh,
and both of them were grafting and doing the best that
uh-huh,
they can, till this day, I still tell everyone that my mother is my hero because she was my pillar. She was the person I looked at
uh-huh.
in terms of the struggle and looking after 3 kids and trying to make it
Like
work, studying law,
it's
working at the same. Like, I was like, if she can do
no,
it,
it's the resilience. I
yeah.
see seeing, and it's don't get me wrong. I had a great childhood.
Mhm.
Everything I had, but seeing what my mom had to do for not just her kids but myself inspired me to just really start working from a young age,
Mm.
and that's like work ethic in terms of what I wanted. And at the time, it was just basketball, so
Yeah.
I put everything into training because I knew this was going to be something that is give me a step
Stepping
forward,
stone.
a stepping stone
Yeah.
outside of where
Yeah.
I was in Harare. Because you must remember, this in the 90s in Harare when a lot of things are changing. From you had Robert Mugabe to and that had all sorts of issues in the country, but it was still great. But I had to think long term. Where do
Mm.
I want to be in the future? And at the time, it wasn't in Zimbabwe. It was out because I needed to just, get
Take
out
that
of
step forward.
take that
I
step
get
forward.
that.
Yeah.
I get
So
that. As a 13-year-old, I felt the same way. Like I said, living with both mum and
yeah.
dad and having been the oldest of 3
hmm
meant that I felt like I needed to take that step. I felt like I needed to find my own path. I needed to be something different so
Uh-huh.
that I could push the boundaries forward away from what my parents had built or
Yeah.
my mum had built as such. And to that effect, same as
Yeah.
you with basketball, mine was more a focus on football. So I
Yes.
was like, yeah, I want to do this. It's going to take me forward. It's going to allow me to do the things that I couldn't see my
Uh-huh.
mother doing,
Uh-huh.
but that will take me so far forward that
hmm
she would be proud. I think there was a sense of pride in that as well.
Yes.
Like, I wanted her to be proud of me.
Of course. Like you want your parents to be proud of you. Is in Africa, and I don't know what it was like in Ghana, but in Zimbabwe, we had access to all the shows, like MTV
Mm.
and that culture, like American English
Yeah.
culture. So you can see what other Black people are doing outside of the continent. But in the continent, you only had your parents, your pastors, your teachers.
Yeah.
These are the role models that you have. So to
Yeah.
break out of that, you had to have something different.
Yeah.
And sport is usually that avenue that takes certain Black or African
Mm.
men outside of Africa.
Mhm.
Back then,
Yeah.
I
I think for
that
me, it was different. I left Ghana when I was 6, right? So I was still very much a child, a baby.
yeah.
With that being said, my start in life was, well, there were TVs. Don't get me wrong, but my start in life wasn't a focus on a TV or the diaspora or what was happening outside. It was we had a very humble beginning, very, very,
Sure.
very humble beginning.
Mm.
We didn't have much, and there was such an emphasis on education
Mhm.
that I think when I got into my teenage years,
Mhm.
the sports thing was part rebellion, but part
That's very true.
inspired.
That's very true because
Right.
there's so many times with my mom like, what's basketball gonna do? Or
Right.
she'll support it, but she'll never turn up for any of the
Oh
games.
my gosh.
Yeah. All the big games that when you watch
Listen,
the American shows and the English
my
shows and you see the parents turn up for
my mother
it's not that
mother
she didn't want to, it's just Africans.
it's the way it
It's
is.
just
Wasn't
the
gonna
way it
get go
is.
read a book.
Go read.
There's many a story,
Or
many a story.
what number are you in class? Because
Uh-huh.
we had like
Same,
ranking
yeah.
systems in Zimbabwe, and
Same.
it's like number one is like
First,
you
yeah.
had the
Top student.
top score, so you're
Mhm.
number one, and they'll publish all of
Yes.
that. And I was always like in the middle. I was never top. I was sometimes towards the bottom, but as I started to go, I realized that I have to.
Yeah.
I think that find that balance to able to make mom happy.
Yeah. I think the balance thing is very, very important. I was lucky in that I carried a photographic memory, and I see it in my sons now
Yeah.
actually. When I was a child, so there was laziness there, and because I knew I could recall
Yeah.
something that I'd glanced over, or even conversations,
Mhm.
sometimes I'd sit in class and just be totally gone, like outside playing football or running around, like. And then exams will come,
Yeah.
and I'd be able to recall conversations and teachings,
Uh-huh.
and I'd just pass through it. But I think the thing with me was when it came to football, distinctly remember my mum being totally against it for years and years and years and years and years. And there was a teacher at school that kind of was the I don't know how to call him, but the turning point, the catalyst in my story. His name was Mr. Ojabu, Nigerian guy, and he came in strict, super strict. I remember he used to pull me into he had an office in the lower school. The lower school playground in my school was in the basement, and he had an office down there away from everything else.
Rather controversial. Sorry, Colin.
Go ahead.
Did in your school, did you have corporal punishment? This is the whole thing.
Yes. Yes.
You know, when I moved to England, it was
total difference, right?
So people ask, why are you so disciplined when you grow up?
No,
because
you get the lashes.
Zimbabwe, we got the lashes.
You
if
got
you
the
didn't
lashes.
do your homework,
Indeed.
if you were disrespectful to teachers, you would go to the headmaster, you get the lashes.
Yes.
And that's why mom never had to really discipline me because
listen.
I already had it at school.
So corporate punishment in Ghana, but Mr. Ojabu was in England. This is the interesting part.
Right.
So this was in England. This was when I was like year 9. Right? So now it's starting to get interesting. And he used to have his office down in the basement, away from the main school. So you had to cross a little bridge and go down. And his thing would be, because I was the African child that he really wanted, he saw me as his son.
In England. Yes, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he would discipline me, not corporate punishment as such, but he would discipline me as if I was his son. So I'd be standing playing football in the playground, be like, hey, Emmanuel, come here. And all he wanted was to have company. So he'd sit me down in his office while he'd get out his sardines and his toast and his Gary for those Africans. And he would sit there and he'd eat and he would just talk to me.
See, that's the influential man in your life who disciplined you in a way which your mom or parents couldn't, but had a shape.
I didn't realize it at the time.
And I had that as well in Zimbabwe. So my mom and a minister been going to church since as long as I could remember, but we used to spend our weekends at church. And we had this had a Sunday school teacher called Donovan. And there was a bishop at the church called Bishop Tudor Bismarck. My best friend's dad, Dwight, his dad, Alfred Alexander. These were my two most influential male role models outside of my grandfather. And Donovan at Sunday school would always say, would have like leadership courses as early as like 10, 11, 12.
Wow.
Because Bishop Tudor Bismarck realized that he needed to have leadership teachings for young men and women from as early as possible.
That's
and
beautiful.
One of the things we did on a Saturday was we didn't go, no partying, no drinks. We'd go to church on a Saturday, and one of the first things would be like preparing the church for the next day.
Wow.
On Sunday. This is like polish the floors, make the seats all in a line, because we were taught if you learn how to serve, and it's ingrained in you, like it's drilled in
Mhm.
you. Wherever you go in the world,
Mhm.
and you have an attitude of service,
Mhm.
that's what's going to push you not just into a blessing or into opportunity, but into roles of leadership, because leadership is about serving.
Serving. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Leadership is about serving. And you see, those lessons really got me through, even when I got to England, because
Yeah.
every time I was in any environment, my first thought was, how can I be of service in any situation? So if it's on the basketball court, how am I helping my teammates? You know, what needs to be done in order for me to be successful. If it's at school, outside of my classroom, how am I serving the school?
Others,
Like,
yeah.
what am I doing for
Yeah.
the school itself? In my law firm, just outside of day-to-day practice, how can I help the business grow and serve in that
course.
way? Like every opportunity.
Of
And
course.
that's what really got me through.
It's so amazing to hear you say that. I
Yeah.
actually believe so much so in that I actually have it tattooed on my body. So there's in Ghana we have these things
You were
called
lucky to get tattoos.
in Ghana in Ghana we it was actually one of my first
Yeah.
tattoos ever
Yeah.
actually. We have these things called adinkra symbols, which is like local symbols that symbolize different phrases or
Yeah.
terminology or have a significant meaning about something. And one of my very first ones was this one. It's like an arrow pointing down.
Sure.
And it translates I'll give you the local language and then I'll give you the translation. So the local language says Nyopeso odio heneno. Ese oh gosh, Nyopeso odio heneno. Ese I've forgotten the phrase now.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me come back to the translation. I'll remember what it means. But the meaning is he who wants to lead must first learn to serve.
Absolutely.
So you cannot lead without serving.
No.
Because to lead is for the people. You can't lead anyone if there's not people to serve.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
that's stuck with me ever since. And I've had that. That was one of my very, very first tattoos because it inspired me right from when I was really young. I mean, I got the tattoo in my 20s, but it inspired me. I had that in my mind from really, really young that I cannot live this life if I don't first ensure that everyone that I come into contact with, I impact. And that impact has simply means, it doesn't mean I have to do anything significant or amazing, but simply means that I ensure that I leave them different to how I found them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's stuck in my head ever since. So it's interesting that you had that from the beginning. It's probably the reason why you're kind of on the path that you are now, and the kind of industries and the careers that you follow. But tell me about when the whole career thought then started about being a lawyer, because you know, as Africans, it's put in our heads, right? Doctor, engineer, lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really like, my family has always just wanted me to be happy and to do well.
Okay.
So even when I had my aspirations of wanting to be an astronaut, they would have been great. We'll support it. Basketball will support it. But then when that didn't happen, and I think it was as early as 17, my grandfather was a high court assessor in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So he was one of the first, you know, he was influential in making that decision to take a career in law. But then I had to decide if this is going to be it, this is going to be it. It has to be all the way. So I did A-level law. I did 5 A-levels. Most people do 3. But I was a voracious reader when I was younger.
Excellent.
Because I realized in order for me to cut it at a certain level, I've just got to know certain things, like how to read. So after my A-levels, I applied for to do an LLB course at a few universities. I chose Hertfordshire University primarily because I also wanted to be around Black people, like majority Black people. And Hertfordshire was north of London, and it was also close enough to get home. And I was playing for a pro basketball team. I had to make some really mature decisions at that age in terms of what's going to be the best fit for me in terms of not just culture, but education, access to the right professionals. And the St. Albans Law Campus was traditional. It had a good faculty that would give me access to the law firms and lawyers that I wanted. But here's the interesting thing, and I'm going to say this because it's really important. When I started at Hertfordshire, first year law degree, right?
You were staying home at this point?
No, I stayed in university.
You stayed on campus?
I stayed on campus.
Okay.
I had scholarships. So I had to play.
Of course,
I had to
yeah,
play
of
ball.
course.
Like, so it was literally basketball,
Study.
study, I worked in the cafeteria at the law
Wow.
campus because I still needed to earn a bit of money.
Of course.
So for me, I didn't care, and I needed to feed myself. So the good thing about working at the cafeteria is afterwards, I'd get the food.
Of course.
Yeah, so
Important.
I didn't have to spend. So
It's
for me,
important.
I didn't have to spend much on groceries. So that was funny. But I wanted to talk about the numbers. When I started off in first year law school, there were probably 200 and something students in the first year, and out
Okay.
of that, I think just under 30 would have been black, female and male.
But you chose that because of
No.
the.
This is just. I'm just telling you like how it
Mhm.
was when we started. Like I
Okay.
walk into the lecture theater, and you just expect to see the majority of the law students to be either white, but no, it was
Predominantly.
mixed. It
Nice.
was mixed. So not predominantly white, just mixed. But amongst the black and the Africans, probably under 50 out of 200, and out of that, probably 10 would have been black male as well.
Wow.
10 to 11 black male, and this is full law degree, right? So just to give you numbers, by third year, final year law school, I think there may be a few dropouts. That number would have still been around 8 to 10,
Okay.
right? Now the important thing is, this is what 2008, around 2008 2009, we have
Yeah.
to start applying for vacation schemes and training contracts to law firms. The way it works is you do your law degree, then you do what's called the legal practice course or the bar vocational course at the time, if you want to be a barrister or solicitor, and then you do a training contract, and then you become a solicitor with your practicing certificate in order to do that. Now, numbers wise, you get up to 10,000, just over 10,000 at a time applying for the legal practice course from
Okay.
around the UK.
Okay.
And then there's probably, don't verify me on the maths. These are these are just approximate numbers. And then the 6,000 would positions in the whole of the UK for training contracts.
So there'll be 4,000 people that will be left with nothing.
Something like that,
Okay.
roughly. So anyway, just giving you context. By the time I started applying for vacation schemes, got rejected, kept getting rejected. And then 2009, I decided I was going to be a solicitor rather than a barrister because it would be easier for me to get a job than as a barrister, because the way the numbers worked,
Right.
I was just needed to get a job.
Right.
That was the goal. So that's why I chose to do the LPC, like in the second year of law school, but I kept getting rejected because 2008, 2009 was the recession years. So people were not employed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you decide to go down the LPC route, decide that solicitor is
Yes.
the way forward because you were basically setting yourself up for success at the end of it. Who did you kind of tap into? What resources in terms of people, mentorship, inspiration did you tap into to now then position that this is my path, this is where I want to go?
At that age, like I'm 22, 23, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So I first people I spoke to, my lecturers, about, okay, this is what I want to do. But if I'm honest, they weren't that really helpful in terms of giving me like the knowledge I needed to get me employed. Because that's it. I just need to get a job as a lawyer.
Right.
Right. So how do I get a job in a law firm? So I started going on the internet, speaking to practicing solicitors
Sure.
to say, how do I get here? And then bit by bit, I started getting the knowledge that, like, you need to get a job because people need to see. Yeah, so I've got that. I've already been working, so I can do that. But now you need to get legal experience. So I started sending emails every summer, just sending as many emails, sending letters I had lists of which law firms, which companies I would send my CVs to. Most 90% of them would be rejected. Second year law school, I finally get an interview with Highbury and Islington legal department to work in their procurement department. And they said, they had a a room, massive room full of files. And this was the time when they were trying to digitalize
Right.
everything. So they were like, we need you to work through this whole room and scan all of these contracts. And if you pick certain things up, let us know. It was, let's just say a little bit soul destroying, but
Admin job.
it's an admin job. But you sat with the procurement team and the legal team, and every now and then they'll give me a little task, a little research task in terms of the applications for certain tenders they were
Sure.
receiving. So that gave, and this was Highbury in Islington near Arsenal football stadium.
Yes.
So I'd see all the tenders for like the projects that are around an Arsenal development or a new road that need to be built. And I started studying all of this and asking questions. And then next thing you know, I getting opportunities to apply for vacation schemes.
Excellent.
They would write glowing references for my previous, and that was actually one of my first legal experiences. The following year, I applied for a internship. And to answer your question about who guided me, the internship that I went to, and this is actually, I have to tell the story because this is a person who opened up doors for me. There is a man goes by the name called Harpreet Singh. Harpreet Singh, he works for an international law firm back then called Tonderai Napier. He was, I had just come off this legal experience at Highbury in Islington, started second year law school. Third year. It's the beginning of the third year. And I had to make an application. I needed to get an internship. So everybody's like, you got to get an internship, because the guys from the Highbury in Islington said, if you have internships, it will open up doors for those training contracts. So one day we had a few Asian students that were going to a talk on lawyers in Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wasn't getting any traction with any of the UK law firms, so I needed to just think outside the box to somehow get any kind of experience that I could. So I went to this talk for Singaporean law firms looking for English
trainees
or Asian students that are studying in England, but to get jobs in Singapore. And I turned up as the only African black man in a room full of Asians. They had the top 4 law firms from Singapore all giving a talk. And then afterwards, I'm like, well, it's clear they're looking for
Asians.
So I walk over to a table with with orange juice, croissants, and everything. Student, I need to eat as much as I can. I see this relatively sort of semi-old man with, like, you know the hairstyle where they have the hair's just on the side.
Oh yeah,
like
and the comb over.
Yeah, not a comb over, just bald at the front and the hair's on the side, like a proper uncle. Anyway, so I offered to pour the orange juice for this man. Again, servitude. So I'm like, no, let me get this for you. Can I pour the orange juice for you? And then I'm pouring the oranges for him, and I give him, I was like, can I get you anything else? I didn't know. He wasn't on the panel. I didn't know who this man was. So I start talking to him, and he says, so what are you doing here? Question. And I say, well, I'm Zimbabwean. I need to get a job in a law firm. I need some level of international experience. I heard Singapore's looking for lawyers. I would like to be considered. This is my journey. And then he's like, long story short, he's like, I want to introduce you to somebody. He calls a man from the panel, and then he goes, Mr. Harpreet Singh, meet Tonderai Nyondoro. Your firm takes internships every year. Would you consider him? I think you have a lot to talk about. I would recommend that you exchange details.
Wow.
And then he just said, it was really nice to meet you. My name is VK. He just said, my name is VK. And then he walked away. The man gave me his card. His name's Harpreet. He's like, look, if you can impress one of the Supreme Court judges of Singapore.
My goodness.
I'm really interested to want to know more about you. So please send me an email on Monday. I sent him an email on Monday, and he was like, could you submit your application? Give me a CV. We have over 6,000 applicants for 4 spaces.
Wow.
So I spend a whole week putting that CV together. I send the application. I get the internship. I go to Singapore. I spend 3 weeks. I do 1 week doing a murder trial, another week doing a construction dispute and the High Court and the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
And then that was at the end of that, they were like, you would like to consider you for a training contract. Are you happy to apply next for the scheme next year? And I was like, of course,
It's
absolutely.
a no-brainer.
No brainer. But the man who
VK.
VK Raja, I met with him just before I left, just to say thank you.
Of course.
It was I really appreciate just the opportunity,
Mhm.
just that recommendation alone. I still had to apply, I still had to interview, but just a little bit of assistance. Sometimes with black men, just a little bit of help. And honestly, ever since then, that opened obviously doors for the law firms I've
Of
worked
course.
for, and eventually I qualified as a lawyer in London.
Wow.
And yeah,
Wow. What a moment. What a moment. And it all stemmed off what? Oranges.
orange
What-
juice.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Look, it speaks to as innocent as you were in that moment.
Mm.
It speaks to taking an opportunity when it's put in front of you. Most would have just stood there and seen this man and just continued along their own way, just totally ignored what was going on.
Absolutely. You
But
never
just
know
because
who
you
you're
picked that
talking
moment to have that conversation,
to.
look at how that totally changed the course of where
Did.
you were at.
It did.
And like,
It
so
did.
do you still speak to VK? Are you still in contact?
No, he's a Supreme Court judge of it. Singapore's very strict on like
Of
policy
course,
and certain
of course.
things. So I only had that last meeting with him just to get some advice on what to do and all of this for the career. But Harpreet Singh, however, like I still speak to him because I
Excellent.
interned with him. He's been a mentor in terms of guiding me at every stage of my career, and even when I've had the fallbacks.
Yes.
And he just said, you've got to understand every fabric of your profession and what's required,
Mhm.
and you focus on the skills that are required of you for the stage that you're about to get into.
Excellent.
Because if you don't, right, you're not giving yourself the best opportunity. So for me, the things that I had to learn, like, is not just the work ethic, but I had to teach myself to write a certain kind of way in my applications. I had to make sure I paid attention to. I'm not. I know it's a bit funny to say, but there's certain things that, as a junior lawyer, that most people take for granted that I had to get to grips with,
Yeah.
and all of that just accumulated into me making mistakes. But eventually, I got offered started working for firms like Linklaters, which is a Magic Circle firm in the UK. I'm in the top law firms in the city, and I'm learning. I'm learning from everyone around me and what's going to be required for me to be an associate. And then I decided I want to be an arbitration lawyer. So to be an arbitration lawyer, I need to look for firms that practice arbitration.
Of course.
And there are not many Black women or Black men in arbitration. So when I started to make these applications at the time, it was a little bit disheartening because I also wanted to ask questions of people who look like me.
Of
But I
course.
didn't have that. I didn't have that.
course.
But I didn't make that a focal point. I just decided which is the best firm for arbitration. There's one called Wilmer Hale. In my head, I thought I would never, ever work at Wilmer Hale. And eventually I got the opportunity to work there for a little bit, and that again opened the doors in terms of the kind of cases and firms I wanted to work, and that really drove me. And it came at a time when I was married and we were about to have a baby, and I was working in a top US law firm,
Wow.
expecting a baby in like 6 months and saving
Wow.
for a house. That for me was a period of my life where I think I really taught me the value of really working and pursuing your dreams at any cost.
Tell me more about that.
Huh?
Tell me more.
Relentless. You have to be relentless. You
Okay.
can't you can't let disappointment.
Who did you feel like you would be disappointing?
Myself, my family, my future son. I had to make it a success. And if I'm honest, I still failed. I still failed, but I think from the moment my son was born, I had a different perspective on who I needed to be as a man, not just for myself, but for my son looking in. And that was purely around not giving up when things are
Beautiful.
when things are hard, because my actions then
Hmm.
would have an impact on his future. And I want to be able to just give him the best, uh, I don't know. I want to be able to inspire him if that ever came, that I didn't give up
Mm.
because I wanted to build the future for you, not for me.
It's interesting that you bring that up. And
Yeah.
the reason I say it's interesting that you bring it up, I often have conversations with fathers specifically around what we want to pass on, the kind
Yes.
of lessons we want to pass on. Simply because in a world where we are often, as men, we're often placed in the kind of behind the curtain, so to speak, when a child is born, and then for the 18 years afterwards.
Yes.
Yet we are so important in that child's life, but we're pushed to the back. And so when I speak to fathers, a lot of the time they're like, yeah, I want to inspire my children to be strong and to know that you can't give up and keep carrying on. And the question I often ask is, at what point do you teach them vulnerability?
Yes. Vulnerability, that's through the discussions that we're having.
Mm.
So vulnerability, they've got to also see it. They've got to also see it,
Mhm.
and that's where it's important to just, um, I don't, I can't speak for everyone, but I certainly wear my emotions on my sleeve, because um, for a young man, you've got to be able to know that it's okay to feel.
Correct.
It's okay to feel and to be vulnerable, because
Correct.
in your vulnerability is when you're going to have the
Mo-
most clarity.
Moments of clarity.
Moments
Exactly.
of clarity. It doesn't happen for
Exactly.
everyone, but
Yeah.
but also who you're being vulnerable around. Which is also, you have to make sure you've got the right people around you
Right.
to enable you to be
Right.
vulnerable, so that vulnerable doesn't get taken. The
Mhm.
vulnerability doesn't get taken for granted, because it can either go two ways. If you're vulnerable in front of people, they could completely dismiss it and overlook it, and then all of a sudden you don't want to be vulnerable anymore.
Correct.
And then if you're vulnerable around people you're comfortable with, it probably empowers you to
Navigate the
yeah
course better.
yeah.
I asked that question simply
Yeah.
because you're like, well, I still failed, but I wanted to teach him. So I wanted to understand in your failings, and if you don't want to go down that avenue, do let me know. But in your failings,
Mhm.
did you let him see? He might have been young, but would you and did you let him see your failings and how you exercise resilience, how you exercise faith, how you exercise strength to go forward
Yeah.
and
Back
through
then it was no, and I didn't let anybody see it.
that?
I
Okay.
I prayed a lot. So I used to go to church.
Hmm.
I s- I always been a man of faith, but I turned to God in terms of where I was able to be vulnerable, and I just let that guide me first. And he got a little bit older, and he had his first trip to Dubai, and we went to. This was my proudest moment, is taking him to Taylor Wessex, a firm here in Dubai, and I said, "This is where I work." And the good thing is, when he came in, everybody in the firm,
Hmm.
"Oh, hi, TJ, how you've heard all about you,"
Hmm.
and that was important for me. That at least he came into my workplace, people were talking about him, because I wanted him to see that
He was important.
he was important. And these are the little things that,
Mm.
like, you are important to me. The job is there, but you are important to me, and that just being seen, making sure, like, your child always knows, like, he's he's being seen by you.
Of
I think that
course.
was important for me to push.
Very important,
Yeah.
because ultimately, like you said, the mindset shift. As a father myself,
Yeah.
the mindset shifts the minute they are born,
Uh-huh.
because it's like, okay, well, life is no longer served for me now.
Nah,
Like
nah,
none of
nah,
me
nah, nah.
doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, we do things, but
Yeah,
it doesn't
but
matter
really,
anymore.
it's about him.
It's about him,
Yeah, really, it's about him.
especially as a
And he
male
may not,
child.
yeah, he may not see it now, but at some point, he's going to be cognizant about it, and that's when he needs to look at a man who's gone through stuff,
Mm.
right? It can't, for me, it had to be that way, and that was my motivation, making sure that at every stage, that even if I had some level of pushback, that I'm giving myself the best shot to succeed because I'm motivated not only by him to make sure that he has somebody to look after, but
Yeah.
also remember, like I'm a man of faith. I'm guided by where God wants me to be. I serve
Right.
him first, then my family. Like, but ultimately, my son for me was the tipping point. The kind of a book I'm reading at the moment, tipping point on where to how to be motivated towards where I want to be. You know.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you brought up faith as a point of perseverance
Yeah.
and being well positioned. I think sometimes when we have these conversations, we forget that yes, of course, family is important. Yes, of course, community is important.
Mm.
But there's a backbone in belief in faith, and I'm not talking about everyday, religion or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a faith that you need to carry
Sure.
to understand that okay, life happens the way it happens
Uh-huh.
for our good eventually. As hard as it may sound, especially when you're going through stuff, life happens the way it happens in order to position us. And sometimes it's the faith in and understanding in that to be able to say, okay, cool. Another tattoo I've got on me, by the way, to be able to say, cool, you know what, the pain and the warfare and the struggle that we go through today
Yeah.
will not be compared to what we're going to see
It'll
tomorrow.
pass.
Absolutely.
This too will pass. I think understanding the hard times are seasonal. The good times are also seasonal. I mean, that also helps with the resilience. When we're taught resilience, or you experience resilience, or you learn resilience through the, ex, really difficult seasons.
Yeah.
When you've gone through a few seasons, could be periodic. You know exactly the formula behind it, which is it's tough now, but it's going to pass. How I am in that moment is going to determine how quickly I'm going to stay or leave that season. And
God
being,
has
being positive is up there.
gold has to go through its refinement to become
Yes.
gold. Right? Excellent. So let's go back to career then. Let's talk a little bit about now you're in a place where Mr. Harpreet Singh has, helped you, mentored you, got you into a position. Talk me through the last, was it almost 10 years since you've been in Dubai?
Oh God,
Or maybe
coming up to 9. Yeah. Coming up to 9.
9 years since Dubai. Talk me through that journey. What inspired the move, the migration to Dubai? And then once here, talk me through how you've kind of seen yourself through, both in terms of career, but also in terms of life, right? Migrating anywhere, apart from your experience in Singapore, which I'm assuming was maybe a summer or a year or whatever it was. Talk me through actually making this your home, navigating it, navigating the way the Middle East works in terms of career, in terms of positioning, in terms of climbing the ladder, and where you're at now, because I really want to kind of take people on that journey of how you've come over the 9, or how far you've come over the 9 years, and then look at how you're looking moving forward.
So my primary drive was to find a firm where I can be an associate in an arbitration practice, because that's what I just purely wanted to do, arbitration. So I got a couple of job offers from 2 top firms here in Dubai, and another one in Singapore as well. So it was three choices. The reason to leave England was because at the time they were talking about Brexit and the like, and I just needed to make sure that I can have a place where I can not only earn well, but I can develop exponentially, which means I wanted to look for a big firm with a small team rather than working for the large law firms in England,
Sure.
where I didn't feel I would progress as quickly as I would in a smaller team, still doing bigger ticket work. So that was the primary reason, is I needed to really just
Excel.
put myself in a deep
Gotcha.
end. So when I got to Dubai, worked for a law firm here, and I spent 6 years working with this firm, and a firm called Taylor Wessing. And during those 6 years, I got to understand how the city works. And I think from day one, from my first interview, at the law firm, I saw Dubai as absolutely progressive, full of opportunity, not just for Dubai, but Africa as well, which
Yeah.
is also a key market for me to want to break into. And I felt this would give me the best opportunity for me to do that. And in the last 6 years, it has, because I I have worked on the biggest cases in my particular law firm. I decided I wanted to become an arbitrator, which is it's like an adjudicator. So I went on a course to do that, and I got appointed to DIAC, which is the Dubai International Arbitration Center, as an arbitrator. So sometimes I get requests to sit as an arbitrator and decide on cases.
Mm.
But that journey in itself was also difficult, because you have to get a certain qualification to become part of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and
Which
then
you have now.
which I became a fellow of the Chartered
Okay.
Institute of Arbitrators, and I did that whilst working full time. Um, the masters that I did in international arbitration, that also helped with that course as well.
Mhm.
So I've been on a journey which has, specific goals, and Dubai has allowed me to to attain those goals. And then now I'm a legal director in one of the top law firms in the city. And in the last 9 years, it's the work, the people, the opportunity, the access to um, the access to thought leadership. It's the city is so fast paced that you learn just from
Mm.
being in the right
Place
the
with
right
the right
place
people.
with the right people.
Correct.
And I'm talking globally, like internationally, not just regionally. And since over the last few years, everyone's coming here. So I think, God put me in a place at the right time in the right place, and it's really opened a lot of doors for me.
Excellent.
And I met men like you.
Please. Now you're putting me somewhere that I'm aspiring to be one day. So how have you picked your community then? Because Dubai is even a melting pot
Uh-huh.
of different cultures, different backgrounds, different experiences, right? People come here and get swallowed up by Dubai. People come here and do really well. How have you kind of selected
Yeah.
the tribe in which you exist in?
I always believe that to get to where you want to get to, and you've got to pick the roads.
Mm.
For me, my career is important, so I have to surround myself with very hardworking people, and friends who are in different sectors, and then work-wise, colleagues, and be in the top firm, the teams that are doing exactly what I want to, so that in those teams I'm growing. Right? I think there's a saying, everybody talks about it. Like, if you feel like you're
Smartest
the
person in the room.
smartest person in the room, most achieved, that you're in the wrong place.
Correct.
So I always try to connect myself with a tribe of people who will challenge me to be better. So if I look at my close friends now, most of them either have their own businesses, work for the top institutions in the city, are in leadership positions at government level, state level. Got friends who are, who are in ministry and servitude and non NGOs. I got another brother friend who's the director at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for
Wow.
Africa. I've got a friend who's an attorney general, or works for the attorney general in a West African state. So I surround myself with the people that are in industries that will teach me to perform at the level at which I need to perform at in the position which I'm in.
I mean, that's evident in the fact that you get selected to go and be a guest of the Ghanaian president.
Oh,
Tell us a little bit about that journey, that trip.
Yes. So last year, I was invited to speak at the first ever public lawyers conference for Ghana by the president of Ghana and the attorney general for Ghana, and there was one of only five international lawyers that were asked to come and speak at that event, and it felt so normal because I already have a track record of either friends or people who are at a very high level. So it's very comfortable for me to be in a space with leadership like that, and that didn't come overnight, but it was still a blessing and an opportunity, just not only to showcase where I've been, but also to impart my knowledge into people in
Amazing.
Ghana. So that was
Amazing.
yeah.
I mean, I find it so inspiring that because you've kind of manifested this aura by the people that you surround yourself with, and by this kind of driven work ethic that you have, that walking into an environment where you've been personally invited by a president of a nation, it felt normal, right? It was devoid of kind of imposter syndrome or anything. It just felt like I belonged to be there.
I still get it. Even when I was there on stage, and the president's sitting in front of me, people are, there's like over 1,000, 2,000 people in the room, and people are listening to you talk about world issues, right? It's still a bit surreal, but at the same time, like you say, like you're there for a reason, and that's what I've had to remember, that this didn't happen overnight. This is over 10 years of everything I've been through leading up to that moment, and it's still not going to be the end. There's going to be more moments like that, right? But I still do get those
moments,
and it's like, what's the word? Trying to teeth my way out of,
In those moments, what do you tell yourself? What's the dialogue in your head? Like you're sat on stage, Nana Akufo-Addo is right in front of you. What's the dialogue in your head?
Just be comfortable. You're here for a reason. Be comfortable, and I think I'm a big believer in speaking to yourself positively. So even before those moments, I just think it's gonna be okay. You're good. You'll be great. You're here for a reason. All of this,
affirmations,
affirmations, just positive,
Yeah.
just positive at every moment you can in the day. Just speak positively to yourself, and that's what helps me in those moments.
I think, like yourself, for me personally, every day since maybe 17 or 18 years old, because I somewhat felt alienated at a certain point, in the sense that I didn't think anyone understood my journey, and family included, friends included, and so on and so
It's
forth.
hard because it's
I learned that it was distinctly my journey.
yes.
And I think every day since maybe the age of 17, there's something that I've always said to myself and still percolates in my head today. And it's that I deserve to be sat at every single table that I find myself on. And even the ones that I don't find myself on, I deserve to be there. So I'm going to go sit on them. Wherever I want to be.
You've got to think as where you want to be.
Correct. Wherever I want to be.
Think as where you want to be. Like, in every stage of the last 5 years, when you ask me, what have I done? I've thought, if I want to be a senior associate in this law firm, and I'm an associate, I've got to act like I'm a senior associate. I'm an LD now, and the next stage is partner. This is the hardest part of my career ever. Like, what I'm going through now, I'm even in shock every day. I wake up thinking, this is unreal pressure, because the next stage is partnership, and not only do you not have to understand legal business, you have to have the leadership, because you've got a team you've got to prepare for. You've got to make money for the law firm. And I'm not talking small amounts of money. I'm talking talking serious money. And that comes through either referrals, relationships, tenders, people trusting you as a lawyer. And it's hard. It is difficult. And then you still have to be calm and have this,
that's why leadership is not easy.
Yeah, this balanced like mental state that's healthy, and you have to perform at a very high level every day,
Hmm.
because not only are your peers watching, your
Everyone's watching.
everyone's watching, your clients are
Everybody's
watching,
watching.
and then you've got that platform. So it's the small things, like the small things really start to matter in terms of how that success is
But that's
every
why
day.
the heat is on now, right? That's
Yeah,
why you
yeah,
have to go through the hard part now,
yeah,
because when you get there, it should be second nature.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can't be making
yeah.
hard decisions and panicking, right? You've got to be in a state of
Yes,
mind and a state of being where you're so used to the
of course.
hardship being just transient, you make those decisions.
Absolutely. So I do disputes, right? So disputes, like one of the things I love doing is preparing for trial.
Hmm.
Um, so in international arbitration, just before you have a hearing, you've got to prepare bundles, you've got to prepare the evidence, you've got to prepare everything so that your case is presented to the arbitrators and the judge in a way which is favorable to your client. I enjoy that because I've been doing that for 8 years, so that's second nature to me. So
Hmm.
when I first started, it was pressure, but now I know exactly what's needed to be able to prepare a case for trial, right? But now there's other things, right, and that are which is um, I've got to do it cost efficiently. I have to be mindful that client is paying real money for this,
Hmm.
so I've got to serve. I've got to make sure everything is.
But again, these are the things that the refinements that one must go through in order to be able to make these decisions off the top of head.
Yeah.
And I often say, like, real leadership, when you see real leaders operate,
Mm.
it's incredible to see how smoothly they do these things and make these decisions and just be comfortable with it within themselves. It's so beautiful to watch. And I
So my
study it.
and I sit with my next door to the regional head of disputes.
Mm,
She's my line manager, and she leads not only the department but the the the
the region.
the region in the practice area, and she's been with the firm for over 20, just
Wow.
over 18 to 19 years, and um and it's nice to not only see a woman of color in a leadership position, but also to see how she manages
Mm,
the practice
hmm.
and the department.
Hmm.
And I've been at the firm for just over a year, and that has been, again, very influential. So I've talked about, you know, men who have been influential, but also there've been some women in my life, apart from my own sisters, but my current boss at the moment. True, it's
Coming
true.
back to you then. So how do you ensure that Tonderai is on this continued journey of evolution? How do you make yourself keep growing, keep getting better?
Um, that's a really good question, and I think because that's where I am right now. I think I look I look to where I want to be, and I I start planning what it's going to take to get me there, and I adopt a few a few things in doing so. The first is I I have to know what it's going to take to get me to where I need to get to.
Hmm.
That's the first thing. Second thing is I've got to equip myself with the right knowledge, um, and resource that I need to get me there. Third is relationships. That's the most important thing. Relationships,
Mm,
because um, you get through life through the help of other people. It's never always going to be just you.
hmm.
So you've got to position yourself and be out there. I talk to as many people as I can around the field and the the route I want to take, so that the knowledge that I get from the people I talk to
Hmm.
is, like, again, the resource. But also there's always going to be that one person that's actually going to be the
Open a door.
yes or no to where I need to get to. And
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. So research, equip,
yes,
relationships.
yes, there we go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, Finally, it would be good to understand. You mentioned the next phase of your progression being partner.
Uh-huh.
What are you working on right now? What are the things that you are doing to make sure that you have all the compartments set for you to get to that point?
I think I've had to take a step back and take care of where I'm at right now.
Hmm.
I've still partnership is still the goal, but I've got to make sure I'm succeeding at the level at which I'm at now before I can even think about partner. So yes, that's still the goal for partnership, but at this stage, I've just got to be ace.
What does that look like?
Ace means I've got to make sure that at work I am keeping my billable hours high. So that's the first thing. So do the work, build the work, and then keep the bosses happy. Alongside that, and this is the difficult bit. I've got to be able to build my practice, which means speak to as many multinational companies as I can,
Okay.
general counsels, and then to form relationships because they're the ones that are going to give me work.
So the question that I often ask people that
Yeah.
appear on my
Uh-huh.
podcast, two questions. The first is a little bit to delve behind the curtain of
Uh-huh.
who you are and who you've presented today. And the second is a little bit more about looking at future people that can inspire. So starting with the second question first, if there was anybody that you would love to see here on this platform that you think has a voice to lend that people can benefit from, who would that be?
Wow, that's it could be anyone,
Anyone.
anyone,
Anyone.
anyone.
Who would you listen to?
Who would I listen to? Oh wow, that could be absolutely anyone.
Anyone.
You know what? There's a TD Jakes, Bishop TD Jakes. I think I'd listen to him every day.
Amazing. And the second question,
Uh-huh.
which is more of a lighter note, is what 3 songs would you say describe you? And why?
What 3 songs? Oh man. Oh, now I'm thinking Yin Yang Twins. um, oh man, I love my music, so that's a different. That's a 3 songs. Okay. There's a song by Floetry, Say Yes.
Mhm.
I'm such I love rom-coms.
Mhm.
I love rom-coms. So I love that song because it's so organic in terms of, you know, feelings and all of that.
Mhm.
The second is man, like this is a hard one. This is a hard one. Let's see. I don't know. I've gone blank. I can't think of
It's
any.
not that
Yeah.
easy a question
Yeah,
to
it's
answer, is
it's
it?
really difficult. It's really difficult. Yeah, really difficult. I
We'll ha-
have to get it.
we'll have to give you some time
Yeah,
to send us those
yeah,
recommendations and we'll put them up.
yeah.
But Tonderai, I'm really, really, really thankful and grateful for you coming in and sharing your story. I think beyond
There's not
everything,
enough time.
there never is.
Never enough
We'll get you
time.
back on
Yeah, there's never
and
time.
talk about your dancing next time. Your semi-professional dancing and delve a little bit more into the basketball career and how
No,
that
but
transpired and what that looked like.
and absolutely, I think I also just want to say thank you as well for having me on the show. I think part of this was not only just to talk about who I am as a person, but just to talk about life generally, where we are. And I'm going to close on one note is it's really important to have black men like you have a platform for men like myself to talk about these experiences and who we are as men and our journeys because there is not enough of that. There's not enough of that, and we live in a world where we've got all of the opportunity to do that. So I want to thank you because one of the things when I was coming up in my career was not being able to see other black men in international arbitration there were a few dotted around, but it
Mm.
wasn't like a prominent thing. So it's hard to have that familiarity, So I hope um, with this interview, if there's any other young man in my position, wherever he is in his career, also aspiring to be in international disputes and in international arbitration, that um, they reach out to me if they want to just have a conversation and talk. Uh, I'm always happy to listen and talk about like the detail about what I've actually been through, because we
Mhm.
haven't had the time, but also um, point out the successes. Like there's a lot to be positive about,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
they're actually more than I was when I first started. A lot more black men in very senior positions in international arbitration disputes, and who are general counsels, and like there's so many more men like me in those positions, that
Mhm.
I think we're in a much better place than we were 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think all of those, particular men and prophets have got stories as
Of
well.
course.
And they've also got their journeys on how it took. And one thing I want to say before I leave is, is community and understanding that you can help each other. We can help
We
each other.
can.
We can help each
We
other.
should.
We should help each other, because if you there may be somebody out there, right? May not be me, but somebody else who just from watching this will be like, well, actually, I know somebody who's got a case for so and
Right.
so. And that's how I'm starting to get cases now,
Right.
is through the relationships. It's like, well, I know Tondi. Tondi exactly does this. There's a problem in Guinea. Somebody's mine has just had his license revoked by the government.
Yeah.
They're losing money. Who can we go to? I
Tom-
know
An
a
arbitration.
an arbitration lawyer who does that. And
Exactly.
similarly, if there's somebody who I can assist here as well. So I'm going to have a meeting after this with a law firm in Cameroon. And this is a man I met last week,
Mm.
right? And he's like, I need your help, right? And we partner together because he's got the access to the kind of work that I'm looking for. So we
Mhm.
apply together and we can work. And that all just came through
A
a
conversation. Network.
conversation. So yes,
Yeah.
tap into your network, have the network help, and I think we can certainly do more of
Yeah.
that. And that's why I really say what you're doing here with this platform, do not underestimate it. I think you are doing a great job, right? And I'm looking forward to seeing all of the
I appreciate it.
when you
I
get those
appreciate it.
Emmys, don't
Listen.
forget.
Oh, look.
When you get those Emmys,
if
don't
it
forget.
if it ever gets that, but that's never the
Yes,
goal.
yeah.
The goal here is to offer opportunities for you to also be someone's Harpreet Singh, right? But not remembered as a Harpreet Singh, remembered as Tonderai Nyondoro,
Mm,
as somebody who inspired somebody
mm,
to take a step forward and
mm.
to realize that they are also important in life, and that
Absolutely.
they've got a purpose
Yeah.
to fulfill. And that is why I built this, is so that everyone who felt like I did through the years,
hmm
when I felt like there wasn't anyone in a room full of people,
Yeah.
can also look and know that they have
Yeah.
a purpose to fulfill.
And sometimes my purpose, like somebody asked me, Tondi, what's your purpose? I have come to a very succinct, um, I've come to just this position where I think it's one thing. My purpose on this planet is to be a blessing to other people.
Mm.
If I can, like 50 years from now, if people can say, if you hadn't hugged me on that day, or if you hadn't listened, or if you hadn't helped me with this case, or if you hadn't done that interview, so that's it.
Yeah.
It's service. Just back down to service. Just want to be able to serve
Amazing.
and be a blessing wherever I
Amazing.
can be. So thank you.
Tonderai,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.